Hi guys, Ming here from Ming to introduce our latest release, the 21 Series 5 Agenhor chronograph. We've traditionally used the 20 series and our flagship models to debut new technologies and interesting movements. Now, the 20 series started off firstly using the Agenhor Agengraph in a reduced form, just the bare essentials required for what we consider to be the classical chronograph, but a modern reinterpretation of it. So it's hand winding, central minutes, central seconds, and that's it. All of this is housed in a very unique case that comes together like a jigsaw puzzle. Basically, you have the movement sitting inside a container, which then the lugs come in from the left and the right, and then the two bezels, front and rear, sandwich the top and bottom and hold the whole thing together with pillars, interlocking with just 4 screws, providing a very rigid construction. The 20 series chronograph has quite a long history actually, especially for a brand like us. This being the 5th iteration, we started off with a very simple, plain black sapphire dial with fused high ceram for our concept piece. The second version of this debuted our sapphire mosaic, which has several thousand very small voids lasered within the sapphire on 3 different levels to provide a 3-dimensional, shimmering, ethereal sort of appearance. In the Series 2, we took this a little bit further. Firstly, starting with a Guilloche titanium mainplate, over which we had a gradient sapphire to help that fade into a new mosaic pattern with even more density and even more complexity in fade. And then on top of that, we have high ceram indices within the dial sapphire, and above that, on the inside of the top crystal, more markings in luminous material for tachymeter and pulsometer scales. Last year, we used the 20 series to debut our borosilicate dial technology, which takes a fused thick piece of borosilicate glass, which then has 600 3-dimensional voids carved within the glass that are meticulously hand-filled with luminous material to make probably the brightest dial we've ever created. It has roughly 20 times the amount of luminous material compared to a bluefin. Now, today we take all of this another step further by going in a slightly different direction. Instead of using luminous material, this is the first time we have a micro-machined grade 5 titanium dial with 2 color finishes. So let's talk a little bit about the dial of the 21 Series 5. It's a single piece of grade 5 titanium that's been micro-machined into this wonderful pattern you see here. We've chosen radial symmetry to make sure that everything still stays balanced visually. The indices you can see are on the crystal, and you can also see that as we transition through basically this dial's version of inversion, you see the strakes on the dial a lot more now. And then as we come out of that, you see that the indices and scales are much easier to read. In fact, most of the time you'll find that light hits the dial obliquely and it's actually quite easy to read. But when it does flare off and show you that nice pattern, it's something pretty special. The strakes themselves have actually been machined with different contours. If you take a closer look at our images or the watch in person, you'll see that it's a very complicated pattern to machine actually, and there are elements in here which are just 0.2 of a millimeter across, leading to some particularly challenging engineering. The center of the dial and the lower portion is anodized a deep blue, just for some contrast. And you'll also see that it gives you the impression that the dial increases in density towards the outside. The case of the 21 Series 5 is constructed the same way as all of our other 20 series cases, which is the movement sits inside a titanium DLC core. The lugs come in from the left and the right, and then bezels front and rear sandwich the thing together, and it's all held together with 4 screws and compression. So it's very intricate, yet very strong and easily serviceable case. I actually like working on these cases because it's very easy to access either the front or the rear of the watch without having to remove the other one. So basically you can undo the 4 screws on the back, and it allows you to work on the dial side or the movement side without the risk of dust getting into either other side. Normally you've got to completely disassemble everything in order to work with it. For the first time in the 20 series, we've actually done this case in stainless steel for a little bit of tactile difference to titanium and gold cases. It actually feels a little bit heavier than you would expect, but not as heavy as the size would suggest. Movement-wise, of course, we have the very beautiful Agenhor Agengraph in a special execution for us with rose gold coated bridges and plates and polished anglage. It is, of course, also our version, which is the stripped down thin version at about 5 millimeters high for the movement itself, that removes the hour counter, the automatic winding bridge, and keeps everything as thin and simple as possible. We have, however, of course, skeletonized the barrel wheel as usual, so that you can see precisely how much wind you've got when the springs are coiled towards the center, the watch is fully wound, and there is, of course, a hard stop on this movement as well. So that's it, guys. 21 Series 5. Available to order now and available through our new retail partners in California, Taiwan, and the Netherlands. As usual, if you need more information, you know where to find us at Ming Watches or Ming.watch. Thank you very much. See you next time.